Hey gang, it's Seraphim, and today is a very sad day. Recently, in an unfortunate turn of events, Scott Cawthon has retired from Five Nights at Freddy's and game development as a whole. In an image posted on Scott Games, his own personal website, he announced that he was getting too old for this series and announced that he would be selling the series off to another company who would be willing to take up the job to develop games. He would be still having creative control over the series, but what he was saying was he wouldn't develop any more FNAF. This sent a shock for the FNAF community, and everyone was wondering, what happened? Why did he retire? And who's going to operate the franchise now since Scott is gone and retired? Well, the answer is kind of sad, honestly. It's just burnout. I mean, in his post, he says that he misses making games for his kids. He says he misses doing it just for fun, and he even misses making RPGs even though he stinks at it. He's grown old, and he wants to spend time with his kids, and honestly, I can't blame the guy. I mean, he started developing FNAF due to one of his games, Chipper & Sons Lumber Co., getting so much negative reception because the characters look like scary animatronics that want to move. And when you're developing a game that strays so far of what you do, it could probably spell doom for some people. But not Scott. He finally managed to find popularity after years of trying and trying and trying. And when big names like Markiplier started playing his game, he was surprised. Over the next couple of years, he would put out sequels, spin-offs of other spin-offs, merch, books, an upcoming movie produced by Blumhouse Productions, and even some weird art that was supposed to rip off anime that was used in some of his games. Yeah, maybe all of them were masterpieces. But that's the thing. You spend way too much time on a franchise that was supposed to be a commentary on your games. Everyone needs a break sometimes, and I think Scott knows that. Is what I would have been saying if the actual answer wasn't so bleak. If it wasn't some sort of controversy coming around, then I wouldn't have cared less. But this isn't true. Scott's true story of why he retired is much more sadder, more depressing, and honestly, more political than anything I ever saw in my life. So today, I'm going to talk about everything what happened to Scott Cawthon in this new and long-awaited episode of Seraphim Discusses. Be warned though, this story contains a lot of harassment, death threats, doxing, and a whole lot of LGBTQ movement stuff. So, where does it all begin? Well, it all started with Pride Month. I cannot make that sentence up. Now, for some people who don't know, June is supposed to be Pride Month, which is basically a month where you celebrate all the LGBTQ community people. Oh, and you become gay also. Now, I'm in a lot of fandoms, and every fandom I meet, there's always bound to be one LGBTQ character. You know, Undertale, Voltron, Life is Strange, all that. Heck, I even know some small communities that have more than one LGBTQ character. And they're fucking adorable. But some people don't like Pride Month. Fortunately, I don't know many people that hate Pride Month, thank God. And some people I meet that endorse the LGBTQ community are very nice people and deserves a badge of honor. Now, all this is to say that I don't hate the LGBTQ community. Far from, actually. Sure, I do have some questions with human sexuality, but other than that, there's just no problem with it. Currently, I'm in a fandom that actually supports it all the way through. And to anyone who is wondering, yeah, I'm talking about Perfect Apocalypse. Yeah, even I didn't expect this on a FNAF video, but it's actually a pretty good example. Even though there's only one LGBTQ couple confirmed, there's a lot of people making fan of this ship, and honestly, it looks cool. And there are other characters that could potentially be bi, or gay, or heck, even transgender. Heck, I even know two people that are non-binary. As a bonus, on the unofficial Discord server, they have LGBTQ flags. Cool! As a bonus, I even have a PA animated wallpaper. All of this is just to point out some evidence that the LGBTQ community is super great, and people love it. But there are some times where people get accused of being anti-LGBTQ even though they're not. And this is where our story truly begins. See, a week ago, there was some controversy between Scott and the LGBTQ community. On Twitter, some guy, who shall not be named, leaked some photos of Scott giving away money to Republican anti-LGBTQ politicians. I don't know how or why Scott did this, but when people saw this, they were mad. Not like mad as in, oh, Funko leaked some FNAF stuff. We don't like that. Get them! No, I meant mad as in really mad. As in aggressively mad. They didn't care if it was fake or if it was real or if it was a cynical moment, but wherever he did, Scott was portrayed as a bad person. And it was weird because he seemed like a good person. I mean, this is the same guy who helped MatPat raise money for St. Jude. Why would he even do this? But no one ever thought that. They just wanted Scott to burn in hell for the sins he caused. But some people didn't like that and defended Scott entirely, saying that Scott isn't a racist, he's not anti-LGBTQ, please just stop fighting. But like always, the bad outweighed the good. People that defended Scott were also accused of being anti-LGBTQ, which is disgusting. I'm going to be serious right now. Why? Why would someone even do this? Why would they even accuse someone of being anti-LGBTQ just because that person donated to a politician that apparently hates LGBTQ people? Why? Of course these things are vile, and if you ever do these things, you aren't part of the community at all. But anyway. Now, about 5 days ago, Scott put out a really long Reddit post, claiming that, yes, I am a Republican, yes, I might get cancelled, no, I do not hate LGBTQ people. I have said that so many times. But what really got people interested is that Scott was treated like a homophobe. He was trending on Twitter, got doxxed, and even got some death threats with people threatening to come to his house. Even worse though, his wife was 6 weeks pregnant, and she spent her last night in fear because of what was being said online. That's cold. He knew he had a community on his hands, and to see his community turning on him, it was so terrifying. In the end though, he admitted everything he did wrong. But again, that didn't stop people from literally screaming at Scott for being such a homophobe. In fact, it got so heated that people who didn't even want to participate in this got involved as well. In the end though, the moderators of the FNAF Reddit eventually blocked any comments, saying that both sides cannot control themselves and are breaking the rules left and right. And after all of this, the community was still in shock. No one believed what happened, and honestly, I don't know if I did either. It was really heartbreaking to see this, and I think Scott felt the same way. However, before the post got locked, some people commented on the post, giving some uplifting messages. And I quote from one of them. Without Scott, FNAF isn't FNAF. It'd just be a shell of the game we all love. Anytime a creator leaves behind their franchise, someone who doesn't understand what made the game special will pick it up and turn on garbage in the place of the beauty. FNAF needs you, Scott. Or maybe this one. Scott, I'm not sure if you're going to see this comment, but I wanted to say this anyways. You've changed my life so much with the series. Without it, I would have never found some of my closest friends, nor majority of my interests. This entire franchise has inspired me so much throughout the years. No matter how complex the lore may get at times, or how long we have to go between content, I always get excited to see new stuff arranged as FNAF. Even ignoring the games themselves, you as a person have continuously inspired me. You've always been very passionate about the fanbase as well as the games themselves. You've been respectful to everyone. You put so much care and effort into every project, and you've overall always just been a very good, kind person. You don't deserve any of this unnecessary drama at all. What you do is ultimately up to you, but don't let Twitter scare you. Me as well as hundreds of thousands of other people will always love and appreciate you. I don't know how to put into words how much good you've done for millions of people. I wish the best for you and your family. Take care. All this, and many more, were just a few comments that inspired Scott to keep going. But Scott didn't want that. After he got involved in the controversy, he wanted to stop. He was getting tired of the drama. He was getting tired of the series. And even worse, he was bringing stress onto himself. He knew if he wanted to reconcile with fans, he had to do something about it. Which then brings us back to today, when Scott announced he was retiring. Honestly, it felt really sad to see him go. But then there's that one question again. Who's going to operate the series now, since Scott's gone? Personally, I don't know. I don't know who's going to operate the series, but if someone does pick it up, then hopefully they keep it true to the source material. So, what did we all learn from this? Well, we learned that Scott didn't retire because he was getting too old. He retired because of stress. Stress that is fueled by controversy, angry fans, and a whole lot of confessions. And you know what? This kind of reminds me of a similar thing with Toby Fox and Undertale. Now I know what you're thinking with your 10,000 IQ brains. Oh boy, Star, this is going to be a good one. First, you bring up Partial Apocalypse, then you bring up the LGBT community and talk about Korra or Steven Universe or Yellow House, and then you talk about Undertale? Wow, you have really gone to the bottom of the barrel, man. Okay, so first of all, 1, I did not do that. 2, I'm saying this right now because I feel like there's a similar problem with these two creators. They all faced several challenges, and, like it or not, had a big community where anything could go wrong with it. I mean, at least when you're talking about tongue stabbings. Don't search that up, by the way. I did, and it was scarring. Toby Fox's reaction to the fandom felt like a thunderclap to a small dog. And I think we may have repeated the same thing again. The relationship between these two is very, very unclear. But there's one line of connection between these two. These developers made games that blew up, got ported to different consoles, grew a strong fan base, and even became the icon of indie gaming, but slowly fell down a hole full of dread. This also happened last year with Bendy as well. The company that made the series, was Kindly Beast, was having a lot of controversy with employees being treated horribly, and their newest game, Bendy and the Dark Revival, stuck in development hell. And their other game, Shut Bandit, was also not getting completed. I guess some of these games were supposed to release sometime in 2020, but then the lockdown happened, which made everyone stay at home, and then caused a huge fucking domino chain that would never heal for the rest of eternity. Because of this, they had to fire all of its employees, got into a big YouTuber conspiracy, and by the end of 2020, the developers were seen as liars. And again, that leads back to Scott and what has become of him. Popularity can either make or break a community in two. Through abusive fans, harassment, and developer troubles, it all leads down to nothing. And even though you passed all that hate and put yourself back together and said sorry, it's just all too late. That can be painful. Who knows, maybe in a few years we might face the same problem again, with other games like Baldi, Cuphead, DDLC, Among Us, Fall Guys, and so much more. Now, I know I'm not thinking about the worst, but with so much stuff going on, it's just so sad to talk about. I feel like making this video was a bad idea at first. Like, I don't want to talk about it, but inside, I still want to share my thoughts. Many people might have felt the same way as well, but like Scott, he never gave up. And even though he did, you still know you built yourself a good legacy. But hey, I'm not the one to judge. I'm just a fan that loves creators both big and small. We're all human beings, you know? But anyways, that's all we have to talk for now. So what are your thoughts about the whole Scott leaving FNAF thing? If you want me to know, then please leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment down below. Alright then, happy Pride Month everyone, and I'll see you later. Goodbye!